All right, everyone, welcome to...
What are we doing?
Welcome to this episode of Talkin Shit with the Cincottas. And today we're going to talk about, today's topic, is there money to be made in photography?
I sure hope so, because we put all our eggs in this one basket.
Yeah, and after 18 years of doing it, I would say, yes, there is.
Yeah.
You want to compliment my shirt today or no?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Sal and Pink.
Yeah, I'm just wearing golf every time on
like
the podcast. Yeah, I feel like I got to support my
He's
hobby.
in his golf era, man.
Yeah, I'm in my golf era. Just leave me alone.
Yeah. Oh, are you trying to hide
I hide the farmer's tan.
It's not a farmer's tan. Can we just be honest? It's a nice shade of Sicilian ombre.
Yeah, it
from
does.
golf.
It gets ugly. Sure, it comes off. I'm a human reflector. All right, so what are your thoughts, man? Lead us in. Is there money to be made in photography?
I think there is. I think the
Or is photography dead, right? Because if you pay attention to what everybody's saying, AI is taking over. And
I don't even think people really believe AI is taking over, because there's nothing that can replace the human interaction. And that's what photography is. You're documenting moments, whether those are staged moments, posed moments, whatever. That's something that cannot be replaced by AI. Maybe one day, but not today. I think the only threat to photographers right now is oversaturation, and photographers who come in at a really, really low price point that are providing actually really good work.
Yeah.
And that is becoming a challenge to the people who want to charge more.
I agree and disagree with what you're saying. Because when I hear saturation, I just think back to, early 2000, mid 2000, 2008, 9, 10. That's what everybody was saying, that the market's going to be saturated. Everyone's a photographer.
All the moms.
We're still here.
Yep.
We're still here.
Yep.
So I don't think it's oversaturation. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I see it a little bit of the opposite. I think the more people who embrace photography, whether it's a hobby or just an interest, the better it is for us as professionals, actually, because now people have an appreciation for good photography. Whereas prior, people just thought, well, you got a good camera, right? You'd hear shit like that. And it's like, I want to punch you. I want to throat punch you, right? Because that's not what it is. I think the more people who are dabbling in photography, the easier it is for the true professionals and masters of their craft to stand out. I really do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree and disagree with you. I think there's plenty of saturation, but the saturation to worry about is in the lower end of the market.
Correct. But I would say more and more, as all this education is coming online of photographers helping other photographers raise the bar, raise their prices, I feel like a lot of people are dancing in that high-end luxury client, or it's bottom of the barrel. It's almost like the middle class of society is kind of going away. The middle class, like just your good quality, decent price, maybe somewhat of an experience, that photographer doesn't really exist anymore.
Well, I think also photographers don't realize, or business owners don't realize enough that we've had both types of clients. When we started out my career, we were low priced because that's what we thought we had to do.
Shooting anything.
Really bottom of the barrel, mini sessions, tried all that stuff. And the funny thing is that those clients were more high maintenance than high end clients. High end clients aren't necessarily haggling with you. They either are okay with your price point or they're not. They either see the value in what you're doing or they don't.
They're coming to you because they trust you.
Right.
Like when it comes to picking their pictures for their packages, they're like, you design the album.
Right.
You know what looks good.
It's so right. I love that you're talking about designing wedding albums, because we've got, in the past, we've had clients that, like, they're fucking scrapbooking moms, and they're like trying to put 80 pictures on one page and nitpicking over like the pixel difference between the two.
10 years later, they still don't have their album.
Right. And then you've got high-end clients. Right, your sister.
I mean, he didn't want to say it.
Yeah, well, I didn't have to. You beat me right to it. So if your sister watches this, you're the one who threw her under the bus.
Thrown under.
But then you've got high-end clients, to your point, who are just like, we trust you.
Yeah,
right?
I just want black leather. You do the rest.
Yeah. I think ultimately what that comes down to is, if you want to make money in photography, first thing I would say is stop competing on price. Just throw that out the window. I know for so many photographers, in your head, you're thinking there's no way if I raise my prices, I'm not going to book business. And there's things you have to do. You can't just go out there, raise your prices. You have to offer higher end products. You have to, offer higher end service. You have to have a studio space. Kind of hard to charge top dollar and you're working out of your basement.
Yeah.
So these are all things that happen. I'm not throwing shade at you if that's what you did, because that's how I started. I started in my basement, and then we moved into our location that we have, eventually where we're at today. But the ultimate goal is to become the trusted advisor for clients. It's a different relationship, don't you think?
Absolutely. Real quick, before we go down the path of trusted advisor, I think a lot of people will also point to the economy right now in whether or not they're making money in photography.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
That's what I'm asking. Do you believe that it's all cyclical and things will start to level out again? And how soon?
Here's what I know to be true. People with money are not impacted by the economy. So yeah.
What about the people who aren't going after the people with money?
Well, you need to change who your client is, right? I mean, if you're trying to sell ice to an Eskimo, you're not going to be very successful, right? So you might want to sell ice to people who live in Miami. You know what I mean? Like that would make more sense. So I think you have to figure out and define who your client is and who they should be, and start trying to move in that direction. Not overnight, of course, but if you're trying to build a business model selling to people who have no money, that doesn't really seem like a smart thing to do, right? It's like, think about McDonald's, think about Starbucks. Maybe people just don't even know this. Before McDonald's puts a restaurant in a location, they're doing all sorts of demographic research for that area. They're looking at, if you're ever driving down the road and you see those little like rubber strips,
yeah,
they're tracking traffic patterns in that area.
Restaurants are doing that, or the city, or both, probably.
Both.
Okay.
But restaurants will do that. They'll pay a company that'll go in and do that research so that they can say this intersection has 10,000 cars a day that drive through it. Blah 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 blah.
I always thought that was tracking like how many people are speeding.
Speeding, tracking your speed between the two rubber bumps. No, that's not what that is. That's good old fashioned law enforcement.
Okay.
I got you doing 45 and a 30.
Right. The little rubber thing told me.
Yeah. No. So anyway, point is they're doing this research, right? So McDonald's is not going to put a restaurant in a place where they can't sell hamburgers.
Right.
By contrast, also a lot of people don't realize this, that those processes are expensive. Those tests are expensive. Starbucks had a strategy at one point. I'm not sure if they still do it. And you'll notice this now, wherever you see if you see a McDonald's or if you see a Starbucks, it's not uncommon to see a McDonald's close by. Mm-hmm. Because Starbucks, instead of running those tests, they go, we know McDonald's does those tests. So if there's a McDonald's there, we know a Starbucks will be successful in that area.
It's brilliant.
So the point is, again, we should not be trying to sell our product or service to people who cannot afford to buy it. So
so the I guess the 80-20 rule is what I'm thinking of, because there are plenty of families who may not have the money for it, but everybody has money for the things that are important to them.
Very true.
So
I obviously subscribe to that.
I would say the majority of our brides are not high-end brides, and they find a way to make the money to pay us because photography is important to them.
Right. And hold on, reset what you just said, because you just called all our brides not high-end. So
no. I'm saying, like, if you were to look at the
not
typical luxury market,
right?
Yes.
By the true definition, where you're spending $500,000 on a wedding, that is correct. We built an entire career on we're in the Midwest.
Yeah.
We're not in New York, LA, Chicago. I've always been jealous when I see these weddings pull up and they're like $500,000 on the floral budget.
Some of the weddings from Ryan Shimbry, when he posts those, like, the flowers are amazing. I get so jealous.
I could be in there with an iPhone and make some great images, right? No, we're
not discounting him as a photographer.
Yeah.
Just saying the flowers are amazing.
Yes, Ryan, you are talented. What I've noticed is, we're shooting weddings that are in like VFW halls. They got like the flickering battery operated candle lights, and we got to make those look good, right? But we've made a career on that. And to your point, this is what you were saying, is that, we've gone to weddings where they've spent $15,000 on the photography, and I would question if they spent $5,000 on the rest of the wedding.
Yep.
Right. And it goes back to the point. Everyone has money for the things that are important to them. And that's a marketing play. You've got to be marketing to the right people. But if somebody has money to spend, like, think about it like this. I definitely consider us a high-end boutique experience, right? So let's just throw Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Prada. The only people you could not say that the only people who buy Louis Vuitton or Gucci are millionaires. That's not true, right?
Correct.
So if you have someone who is just middle income, they aspire to have a Louis Vuitton someday, right? And when they finally get the chance to get that Louis Vuitton, they do it, and it's the most precious thing they have, right? That's who our client is.
Yes, and imagine if the experience at Louis Vuitton is not what they expected. They will regret that purchase forever.
But that's my point. You cannot discount, in the crux of this conversation, you cannot just assume that by lowering my prices, that person will find me.
Right.
That person will find you because you're offering high-end product, service, luxury items,
Gotcha.
and they aspire to afford you. They aspire to have you. Think about how many clients over the years we've had where they said, my dream has always been to have a family portrait done by Sal.
Yeah.
My dream has always been to have one of my daughters photograph with Sal for senior pictures, right?
Yep.
Those are the clients we're searching for.
Yep.
I don't know that we're ever going to get one of those, $500,000, $1 million weddings.
Right.
It's just not, it's not who we market to.
And I don't think we'd even enjoy it.
No, because then you're just hired help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to have a connection, a friendship with our clients. And talking about experience real quick, I think a lot of photographers get caught up in the word experience, and they think that means like, you got to buy them a bottle of wine. You got to buy the best packaging. You got to buy the best this, buy that for the experience. And so much of the experience is really just a personal connection and making your client feel appreciated and seen. Because what I was saying with you go into Louis Vuitton and you drop $3,000 on a purse, but your salesperson doesn't pay attention to you.
Right.
You don't even get asked if you would like a bottle of water when you sit down. You're being ignored. Like,
right.
Who wants to spend money? And like, it's so easy to give a good experience in just a simple conversation with them, a text, a personal touch. The morning of the wedding day, I will always text our bride and be like, I'm so excited. I can't wait for the big day today. Just little things to make them feel like I made the right choice dropping $10,000 on this photographer.
Right. Yeah. And, you see it with like the video teams who show up, right?
Yes.
It's always interesting. If you're a wedding photographer, you know what I'm talking about, but you'll shoot a wedding and then the video team shows up, and the video team 9 out of 10 times has no fucking clue what's going on. The bride and groom don't know who the video team are because they've either been outsourced, right? Hired online like a week before the wedding. So they're showing up. There's been 3 revisions to the timeline that they're unaware of because they have the wrong version of it. The bride and groom have never met them before, have no connection to them. And you see that contrast right there and then when we're there, because
we know the parents' names, we know the dog's name,
right?
Like,
we're because we've done their engagement pictures. They've come in to see their engagement pictures.
With them.
We've had multiple meetings with them.
Yeah.
So that level of connection experience is irreplaceable. So back to, is there money to be made? Yeah. But you've got to do the things that need to be done. You got to do the work, man.
This is not a lazy job. Like, you cannot just take a picture. The days of just taking pretty pictures and making a living out of that.
Yeah.
That's been gone since.
Well, that's transactional.
Yes.
And
you could make money out of that, but you're not going to make good money.
Yeah. I want to make good money. These shirts aren't going to buy themselves.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? So what are some other ways that there are to make money in, photography? Because I think it can be very lucrative. I've always been open talking about that. Our studio was doing 7 figures. We were featured in PPA magazine on our growth. They did a review of our business back in, I don't know, 07, 08, 09 maybe. It was early on, but we were doing 7 figures, and people couldn't wrap their heads around that. How, one photographer, and we had 2 at the time, we're doing that much, but the money's there. It's there to be made, and it still is.
And at that time, you were in the 7 figures on just photography alone.
Correct.
So
yeah, we didn't have We didn't have a YouTube channel. We didn't have, you know, a Shutterfest, our photography conference. That the business has only grown because of that, right? But photography alone, we were doing 7 figures. Now that's a lot for people, you know, that we have.
It was a lot for you.
Yeah, it was a lot for me.
52 weddings a year.
Yeah, the weddings count was absurd. Yeah. We'd have a wedding on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. But, you know, we learned a lot. We learned what worked with marketing. But the point there is, I think I forgot my point.
I love that. That's my favorite.
No, it's not. I hate that.
Yeah. Well, I'll just jump in.
Yeah.
I think when I said about like you were just doing that in photography, I think there's this common misconception in our industry that there's so much money to be made in workshops and education and teaching, and you're a speaker at a conference, and it's like you will pour all of your soul into giving back to the community, and the return on that is very, very little. You're not going to build a sustainable business model.
Let me, I don't know if we're not supposed to talk about this publicly or whatever, but look, my speaker fee is I think is very low, but in the photography community, there's not, you know, I could go out on, probably with what we've accomplished, I could probably go out on a speaker circuit, motivational circuit, and get 4 or 5 times what I get for speaking in the photo community. So my typical photo speaker fee is $5,000 for teaching. Mm-hmm. For me to teach that one class, I'm out of pocket for minimum 3 days, right? 1 day travel there, 1 day teaching, 1 day travel back. So minimum I'm out of pocket 3 days.
You're not charging for the 2-hour class that you're teaching.
Right.
It's how much time are you away from the business.
Right. And so it's this catch-22 because there's opportunities that I do want to teach at because I do want to give back. But at the same time, I've got to balance that with I still am an active photographer. So there's always this balance because there's places I've spoken at for free where I'll go and I'll teach for free because I believe in the conference. You know, Boca Summit is one of those conferences by a friend of ours, Andre Brown. He's running that. He's growing it. He didn't have the money to pay me, and I'm like, I'll do it for free. So, and that particular conference was multi-day. So now I think we were out of pocket 4 or 5 days. Okay, man. I mean, for me to be out of pocket 4 or 5 days and not get paid at all, right? That's crazy. How do I justify that? So when you glamorize teaching, like you need to like be clear on what you're doing and why you're doing it, because it's definitely not for the money. There's more money to be made in actual photography than there 100%. Is in education per se.
Yep. And I get it. Like education is fulfilling for a lot of people.
Yeah, I love it.
Giving back is fulfilling.
When I see the light bulb go off for somebody, when I'm teaching lighting or posing, oh man, that's what it's all about. I freaking love it. When I get those messages back from people and they're like, oh man, I sat in your marketing class or your business class and, I made this change and I had my biggest sale ever. Those messages, when I get them, that's what it's all about.
Right.
You know?
So let's say you are a portrait wedding photographer. You're doing high school seniors, blah, blah, blah. How can you diversify the type of photography to bring in revenue that maybe isn't available in that portrait market?
Yeah, I think every photographer today is missing a huge opportunity in the content creation market. I think
for themselves or for businesses?
Well, definitely for themselves, but they're not going to pay themselves. It's mostly for small businesses. So you have to do it for yourself for sure. But you've got to realize every small business in the world needs content. Every one of them. So for you not to be offering that service, you're ignoring a huge client base. And it's untapped right now, right? There's some businesses that are out there. They're mostly agencies. And then it's funny because these agencies are just hiring these like teens.
Oh my gosh.
And just freshly out of college kids who are just out there with their iPhones and doing stuff. Meanwhile, you have all the knowledge in the world from composition to, lighting and posing. You have all that knowledge. You can sell and position that knowledge to these small businesses. Right. Because if I walk in a room to a small business and I'm like, here's our plan for you. And a 22-year-old walks in and they're like, actually, and then they just start
you did actually.
saying shit. Who do you think that business owner?
Actually, I'm probably going to go with the kid.
No, I don't think so, man. They're gonna resonate, have more trust in me,
Yeah.
right back to being the trusted advisor. They're gonna connect with me better. You know, we are just very fortunate that the employees we do have range from millennials to Gen Z. So, you know, we can kind of poke fun at them, and
It's actually like, it is so, for us, it is so important to have that age range, because we can tap into, you know, Molly, she's 24. We can ask her these questions because we are so out of touch with Gen Z,
Right.
what they like, what they're drawn to. We had a whole conversation with her and Alicia. They were down here, and I think we were talking about what they are drawn to in social media
right.
advertising, like what would make them want to click on something.
Right.
It was night and day.
Right.
But just between the two of them, I think Alicia's 32, maybe 33.
Right.
Molly's almost 10 years younger, and then you've got us. All of us are completely different.
Yeah.
Even between you and me,
Yeah.
completely different.
And all that does is emphasize the importance of how overwhelmed small businesses are.
Yeah. How
and
do you appeal to everybody?
Right. Well, this is why there's an opportunity, I think, for photographers. I think creatives can adapt relatively quickly to changing market conditions because we're creative. We can look at what's going on and we can say, okay, we can offer that. Yeah, the lingo might be a little bit different.
But like, when do you jump on a trend, and when do you just stay consistent in your own brand, you know?
Yeah. I'm not a trend guy.
No.
But
some people see huge success. Like, look at freaking Wendy's.
Yeah.
Wendy's, that marketing, it was like a marketing person who, she wasn't supposed to be on social media that night, but somebody else, the intern wasn't available that night or something. So she hopped on, and somebody was trolling Wendy's, and she was like, whatever. And she just had this attitude in her responses, and they've never been the same since. I mean, she completely changed the voice of marketing.
Yeah. Well, it's entertaining, right?
But I guess that's not really a trend.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just their voice now.
Yeah.
No, I think so. If you're a photographer, you've got all the gear already. Maybe you got to make an investment in some other things like tripods or some lighting. But I think if you want to start making good money and it's start going after content creation for small businesses.
How do you price something like that? Like if
it's all custom.
Yeah. But okay, so let's say there's a hair salon down the street from me, and I want to offer monthly content creation. What would you advise a photographer to pitch?
I would say, so there's all different ways that we have quoted this out, right? We've got businesses that come in and they're like, hey, we need some, training videos for our staff. We need headshots. We need team shots. That's going to be custom. There's no package. What you're referring to is, basically a residual model where you can go to a beauty salon and say, look, for $1,000 a month, I will come in 4 hours per month and film 4 reels.
Behind the scenes content.
So
they're just doing their own work. You're coming in there and you're just filming as they're
working. And you just do
working.
your thing, and I will give you this many posts, this many reels per month.
You're doing photo video.
Right, photo video form. And you price that out, right? Whatever makes sense. But if you came in at like, this is, to me, this is how easy it is. Our focus is more on mid-sized projects. The average project for us is 25 to 50 grand for a company. I like playing in that space. It gives us a lot of latitude. Of course, the money's good, but it gives us a lot of latitude. We don't have capacity to go at these smaller companies and say, for $2,000 a month, we'll do this. Would they hire us? Yes, we would be able to book that business. Yep. But we've got bigger accounts. So if I were in a different place in my career and business, the low-hanging fruit would be that kind of $1,500 to $2,000 or $3,000, even $3,000 a month. I'd put 3 packages together. I'd say for $1,000 you get this, for $2,000 you get this, for $3,000 you get this. What this is, you've got to figure out how much time is involved, but truly base it on time.
Yeah.
But one client paying you $2,000 a month is not a lot of money. But this is where the scale comes in. You're only giving them 4 hours a month, right? So
and are you knocking that out in one time, or are you going for 1 hour 4 times a week or 4 times a month?
I'd probably show up. I'd probably set up my schedule if I were them to show up. Again, it's going to depend on the business. But, if it's a beauty salon, I'd show up once a week for 1 hour.
Okay.
Right?
And do you think the time that you're there matters?
Yeah, you work that with the business. It's irrelevant.
Okay.
There's opportunity there. But my point is, the $2,000 a month that's not good money. The good money is when you get 10 accounts.
Right.
Now we're talking.
Right.
So now you got 10 accounts. you're generating $20,000 a month in revenue. The average photographer makes about $40,000 to $50,000 a year, top line. Okay? All you got to do is get 10 to 20 of these accounts at $2,000 a month. There's plenty of time in the day to do it.
Yeah, you just have to be smart about scheduling. Like,
Yeah.
you don't take Monday through Friday and you're going to a different place every single day. Take 2 days out of the week.
Right.
Those 2 days are when you are doing your content creation.
Right. The other 3 days is when you're
shooting
editing
or selling.
Right. Whatever the.
Yeah, you still have to be a photographer on top of it all, right?
Well, I don't know, man. If you,
Or the weekends.
I think you'd have a lot of photographers that if they're like, okay, I like Sal's math on this,
Yeah.
that's $250,000 a
Maybe
year.
you're shooting weddings on the weekend and then during the week
Right.
you're doing content.
And you can outsource some of this stuff, right? Like
You
for
can outsource
video
the editing.
Yeah, the video, the photo editing can be outsourced. The video editing could be outsourced because you start realizing that you're making your money. Listen, if you're sitting at your computer, editing pictures, editing video, you have devalued your hourly rate to some ungodly amount. Outsource it. Get rid of it. Every business in the world has staff helping them at some level.
Right.
And the average photographer can't afford full-time staff, so contract that work out,
Yep.
right? It just makes sense. So I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. My time is best spent marketing my business, talking to clients, and of course, shooting,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's video or photo. And I think that's where the math is. You get 10 or 15 clients paying you $2,000 a month. Dude, that is a lot of freaking money, not to mention you could be doing headshots on the side and
Right.
all this other stuff.
Headshots are such an easy way to bring in cash.
Headshots are
If
the
you need it fast.
gateway drug to this
Absolutely.
content work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
People don't realize that.
Nope.
Like, I'm not excited. When a business calls me and they're like, we need 2 headshots, I'm like, oh, fuck, man.
See,
Now
I'm
I gotta-
excited about headshots because I'm like, I'm going to sell you on 7. You're going to buy 7, not 1.
Well, bingo. That's where the money is, right? And then that person, if they've had a good experience with you, that's the gateway drug for you to start talking to them about content
And
creation,
every time,
bigger projects.
Exactly. Every time they're in. So they come in for a headshot for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The whole 10 minutes we are talking about, what do you do for work?
Right.
Tell me about your business.
Right.
And then we're like, oh, idea. And it's not just like we can do content creation.
Yeah.
We also do websites. We are painting the vision for them.
Right.
Because people need to be able to see what you can do.
Yeah. And your job at that point is sales.
Yes.
Right.
And then after you deliver the headshot, you follow up.
Of course. Hey, we'd love to
close
get
it out.
together.
Yep.
Would love to get together with a meeting if you're open to it to talk about some projects together. Because here's the other thing photographers don't realize. You might have a bride who's going to haggle with you about an extra hour of coverage. I promise you, when you're doing more corporate work, it is so much easier to work with them. They either have budget or they don't have
and
budget.
Typically, these like medium businesses that we're working with, the budget comes from corporate. So the person you're working with, it's not like a personal, I feel bad telling you that I can't afford you.
Right.
It's like, my boss said no.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's super simple. Very rarely are they ghosting us.
Right.
It's more like, hey, can you give me a quote? I've got this project. Yeah, it's $25,000.
Yeah. And
That's out of budget.
Right.
What? I love that.
Yes.
What's your budget?
Yes. And
maybe I
that's
can work with
so-
you.
As photographers breaking into this commercial side of things, you, especially as you're getting started, you have to be okay wiggling with your own, what you're willing to do for what they can afford.
Yeah.
And asking from the get, what kind of budget are you working with? Because I can put something together for you that's $75,000, or I can put something together for you that's $7,500. So
Right.
tell me what you have available, and then push them a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Right. Whatever number they give you, there's usually some wiggle room. There's plenty of projects we've worked on where they gave me a number and I'm like, man, if you can give me 15% more, look what I can do.
Yep.
Right. And then it's up to them to say no or go figure out where to find the money.
Right.
But it's a completely different conversation on the commercial work than it is on the, I want to say residential, but no, on the consumer, the general consumer side.
Yeah,
So
portrait.
Yeah. Again, if you're a photographer and you want to grow your business right now, I think this is the way to grow it. There's opportunity out there. Go find it. Diversify your portfolio. And this happened to us. We've always dabbled in commercial work, but once COVID hit, we went hard at small businesses that needed help.
Right.
And that's where now I'm addicted to that. I'd rather be doing that than spending 10, 12 hours on a Saturday.
And the work is so different and
shooting a wedding.
it's so creative.
Yeah.
Not that portraits aren't creative. It's completely, you're like, here's a book, make it look interesting. It's just a different challenge.
Yeah. And it's fun.
Yeah.
What else?
We talked for a really long time to say the short answer is yes. There's
plenty,
definitely opportunity.
A lot
to
of
make
money to be made in photography.
It all boils down to the same thing. You have to stop being lazy.
Yeah.
You want to make money.
You got to hustle.
You got to do the work.
It's such a cliche saying, right? A saying, if it were easy, everyone would do it.
And the minute it starts to get hard, push harder to keep going.
Yeah. And if I could add to that, it's this mindset of being full service. I think that is elusive to many photographers, right? When a phone call comes in or a lead comes in to our studio, we are responding typically in under an hour and a half to 2 hours, right? No matter where we are, no matter what we're doing, we're being responsive. It's mind-boggling to me to watch how many photographers will either not get on a phone call, they'll just respond back with an email.
Terrified to talk to people.
You're not going to get the business.
No.
I mean, you've got to get on the call and establish a relationship.
So sorry to cut you off.
People want to do business with people they like.
Yes. And I started doing something because cold calling wasn't working for the average, for the boudoir calls.
Yeah.
The average client who was filling out the form wasn't answering their phone when I was cold calling.
Okay.
And they definitely weren't calling me back. So what I started doing is I would text them from my personal number, not from Disruptor, and just be like, hey, it's Alissa Cincotta. I saw you just filled out our form. Do you have a quick 5 minutes to chat about it real quick? Or do you want me to do you want to try to talk? I would set up the phone call personally.
Yeah.
Right then and there, like instantly. And I felt like the walls were broken down a little bit more.
Because you're a person now.
Yes. And
you're not a spam caller.
No, and I don't feel like Disruptor is spammy at all, but it's definitely part of an automated process that doesn't feel personal.
Right.
So full service means heavier hand too.
Yeah. Got to do it.
Yep.
That's where the money's at. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode. There is definitely money to be made in it, and Godspeed. Get out there, hustle. See you in the next episode.
Make that money.